You deserve a man who's going to make you a priority, not a convenience. And so it's important that you learn how to tell the difference between the man who's serious about you and the man that's just wasting your time. So I'm going to lay it out for you. I'm going to lay out the questions that he would ask because it's important for you just to be aware. Now, understand that the asking of these questions isn't automatic. Oh, he's in love with me. He's serious. I found the perfect guy, right? But it's at least a good sign. And to me, it's a green light to dig deeper into ensuring, is he serious or not? And when these questions are not asked, then yes, you do need to be aware or consider that other red flags may be popping up that you need to dig deeper into. But let's focus on questions he'll ask if he's serious about you. So, number one, what are your goals, dreams, or aspirations? So here's the thing. The basis of understanding the difference between a man who is serious about you and the man who is wasting your time is that the man who is wasting your time typically is not trying to dive deep into who you are. Typically, he's trying to keep things on the surface. He may tend to have more of a sexual conversation with you. He may tend to have shorter conversations with you. He doesn't tend to want to ask questions that's going to elicit long responses or things that he has to pay attention to because he's trying to get in and trying to get out. So anytime a man is really asking you questions about you and to ask you what your dreams, goals, or aspirations are, shows a man who is trying to be invested in who you are, learn who you are, and see if he fits with who you are. Now, again, we understand that there are men who could ask these questions and they're still playing games. And that's why you got to pay attention to the other signs I'm going to mention or the other questions I'm going to mention, as well as a host of other things. But again, if we're talking about there's a greater chance that he's serious than he's playing games when he's trying to dive deep into who you are. So any question about that is something to pay attention to and something that you definitely should be willing to share. I feel the need to mention that sometimes I've coached a lot of women who seem to be hesitant about sharing about themselves. And I'm going to dive a little bit more into that with one of the questions later on in this list. But in holding back who you are, you're going to have a harder time evaluating if there's a real connection with him, if this man is truly best for you, if you guys fit into each other's lives. So do not be afraid to be forthcoming about your dreams, your aspirations, the thing that you desire, because that's the way to make it easier for you to see what's going on in front of you and to see, does he respect not just who you are, but where you're headed in life. The second question a man will ask if he's really serious about you is, what are you looking for in a relationship? Now, notice the words here. It's not just, are you looking for a relationship? Though I do think that's a good question, at least in the sense that it's showing a man who is trying to gain and give clarity on the situation. Because again, men who are just trying to play games, who are not serious, they typically want to stay away from discussions about what are we doing here, where is this going. That's not the topic they want to cover, all right? They want to just go with the flow, enjoy themselves, that's it. So to even ask you if you want a relationship, it's either because he is interested in one, or if he is not, he is typically either prepared to tell you he's not, or he's going to back off if he's not wanting the same thing as you. So either way, it allows there to be a resolution or an understanding that is met early on as far as, okay, we know what each other wants. Now we know if we can move forward. But the question I gave you was, what are you looking for in a relationship? All right. So this shows an interest of understanding what are your desires, needs, and standards once in a relationship. And if I'm not serious about you, why would I give a damn about what you want in a relationship? Why would I even try to go there with you? Again, that's a question that will likely mean he's at least considering relationship here. He's at least trying to determine, is this something that you two can have? So it's not a guarantee that you guys will end up in a relationship. It's not a guarantee that even if he has interest today, that interest will continue to grow where you guys can move forward and be together. But it shows that at that time, he is at the very least considering, and he is seriously dating you with the intention of getting to know you for that purpose, all right? So what are you looking for in a relationship? And again, I'm gonna remind you one more time, you gotta be willing to tell him. I know there's this idea of, or this ideology that you don't tell a man everything that you're looking for because he will use it against you to just play you, all right? And I'm not gonna act like that's never happened before. I'm not gonna sit here and say there aren't some men plotting in that way. What I will say is that, and let me just make this one quick comment. Nothing in this world is 100%, all right? So anything that I tell you or anyone tells you is either gonna give you a better chance or a worse chance, okay? Now, when you understand that, then you can accept or embrace the fact that being forthcoming and honest about what you need and desire and are looking for will actually give you a better chance of getting what you want and weeding out the guys who aren't serious about you. Because again, the average guy, especially more in today's world, has become very lazy. And lazy in the sense that they want more for less. So let's just say you gave this man this whole laundry list of what you're looking for in a relationship, all right? For him, who's not serious, to want to cover all those bases just to sleep with you and play you, that seems like too much work, especially when there's other women that he can do less for and get as much from, all right? So typically, unless he is just so super infatuated and obsessed with getting you for whatever reason, sex or as a trophy, whatever, he's not likely to want to cover all those bases. And what typically happens is not that the man does everything that you tell him just to play you. He simply tries to latch on to a few of those things to play you. Pay attention. The women who are getting played, if they really evaluated the whole situation, they could tell you he didn't cover all ground. He didn't do everything right. There were still red flags, but he locked into a few things he knew she liked, and he worked it really well in those areas. And it gave her reason to rationalize past what he was lacking in the other areas. But what I'm telling you is the man who is serious about you, when you tell him what you're looking for and what you need, he's going to try to cover all areas. Unless you're asking for some unreasonable thing, all right, that's just out of his power to provide for you, that's different. But if you're asking for things that he knows he can provide, or that's reasonable for a man to provide, then yes, he's going to do that. So pay attention. You can tell him what you're looking for, because again, I always say the true test to seeing how serious a man is about you is not seeing in what he does on his own. It's seeing how he responds to how you feel and meeting the needs once they're expressed. Because it's easy for a man or a person to say, well, I did not know she wanted this. And I've seen situations, I know of situations where men genuinely loved the woman, but he did not know what she needed and was looking for. He was confused, and that led to a lot of misunderstanding and disconnect in the relationship. And he would say to me, if I just knew, I had no problem providing it all. So those men who are serious want to know, and they want to know because they're trying to give you what you're looking for if they are fully capable and willing to meet that standard and those needs. All right, so let's get to another question that a man who's serious about you will ask is, do you want kids and how many? Now, the do you want kids, again, it kind of is like the question of, are you looking for a relationship? Because do you want kids could be him weeding out if he wants to deal with you, in the sense of, okay, if you want kids and he doesn't, he might be like, all right, this isn't going to work. Which, as a woman, don't lie. Don't run from the fact that if you want kids, you want it, say it. I've seen women get caught up in a situation where they wanted kids, the man didn't want it. She's hoping over time he'll change his mind. 3, 4, 5 years pass, he never changes his mind, and all it's done is made it harder for her to have the kids that she wanted. So don't set yourself up by not owning your desire for children if that still exists. Doesn't matter what your age is. If you desire it, if you're hoping to still make it happen, you've got to be willing to express that. But again, if he asks that question, part one of this could be yes. He could just be trying to figure out if we can even move forward here. but there is a good chance that he is looking towards the future. But that's why the question of how many kids you want is it kind of seals the deal of, okay, this man is considering you for a relationship. Because again, if I am not interested in having kids at all or having kids with you at all, why the hell would I ask you how many you want? Like, it doesn't make any sense. We can stop at do you want them or not. That's enough to tell me I don't want to deal with you if I don't want kids, all right? But if I'm asking you how many, I'm going deeper into the question, then again, there's a very good chance, very high likelihood that he is at least evaluating you on the level of serious potential relationship. So that's definitely another question to be to look out for, to just be mindful of when it's asked, all right? And again, always be honest about it. All right, so now we are on to number 4, all right? And the 4th question on this list is, do you need help with anything? So essentially, we can phrase it in a lot of different ways, but the premise here is a question that offers support to you, that offers, that says to you, I am here to help you, I am here to assist you, I'm here to take the burden off of your back. I am here to provide in that way that you need me to. So it's, whether it's, you know, can I help you with anything, or do you need help with anything, or whatever the case may be, all right? He's trying to express, I'm here for you. And that again is a huge statement, huge question, because as I mentioned earlier, the man who is not serious ain't trying to be of convenience to you, isn't trying to be helpful to you, isn't trying to look out for you, provide for you, and all these things. He is just trying to get his and get out, all right? Now, are there some exceptions to the rule? Of course, there always are. But typically, he's going to stay away, the guy who's not serious, from anything that requires him to invest more in the situation or in the potential relationship, all right? Whereas the man who is serious wants you to know he's there for you because, again, he's trying to, I hate to say prove himself to you, but he is trying to show you that he's serious. And he is trying to show you that he cares. And he wants to show you that because he views you as potential, or he already has decided in his head he does want to be with you. And right now we're just going through the formalities of the dating process before we can make this official. You know what I'm saying? So any man who is willing to provide support, it's a really great sign. But this is definitely a topic where, as a woman, I know a lot of you have a struggle with allowing a man to do for you. All right, for various reasons. Some of you have become very entrenched in being an independent woman. You've had to do it for yourself. You've become accustomed to doing it for yourself. And so now it can be very uncomfortable, or it's not second nature anymore to allow a man or anyone to do for you, right? As well as there's the mentality that some of you may have that, well, when you do for a man, he's expecting something in return. So let me first address that, and then we're going to address the independent woman issue. Okay, so in regards to he will expect something in return, the man who is not genuine, the man who is not serious about you, yes, typically yes, he's going to expect something in return. It's a game he's playing, but you should not project that onto a man. You should not assume that's the case. Now, if your concern is, well, if I don't assume that, I may set myself up for that scenario. But consider this. Let's say man says to you, you need anything, let me know, right? And you say, oh yeah, you know what? I could really use, my car needs to get fixed. If you could just take it there for me, because I don't know how to deal with the mechanic. Can you just do me that favor? You're not asking to pay. You're just saying, yo, can you just like manage that situation for me, right? And he says, okay. And then a week later, y'all are hanging out, and he's trying to have some sex. And you're like, no, I'm not ready yet. And he's like, well, wait a minute. I took your car to the mechanic last week. What you mean you ain't ready? I thought booty comes with that exchange. Like, what are you talking about, right? So here's the thing. That sucks that he would even do that. But all you have to do is say, no, that's not how it works. like you don't have to project this attitude or this mindset on a man, because you don't know who's going to actually try to pull that nonsense on you. So don't project it, just handle it when you come across a situation. So if it comes to that, he can expect all he wants. You don't have to give him a damn thing, all right? And I know that might be hard to grasp or hard to embrace, but the reason why it's so important is because, again, while you're trying to block yourself from being in that situation with the man who expects something in return, you are now pushing away the man who's trying to pour love into you. And the thing is that doing for you, providing for you, is a way that a man who is serious, a man who cares, is trying to show you and express love. So now if you have a hard time grasping that, consider this. Because everyone, when they care about someone, wants to be able to provide value to that person, okay? So let's say you are a mother, or just picture yourself as a mother if you're not one, and you have a child, all right? And as a child, you're doing for this child because you love your child. You're pouring into them. You're not expecting anything in return, so to speak, but you give to your child because you love and care for them, right? But now the child gets a little bit older, and now the child says, nah, I'll do it up my own. Nah, I'm okay, mom. Nah, it's okay. You'll notice that you'll start to feel some kind of way, not because you're mad that they're able to do it for themselves. You're proud that your child can stand on their own 2 feet, but it's restricting the way that you pour love into them. It's restricting your ability to give to them. So yes, you don't want to necessarily stop them from doing for themselves, but you want there to be a balance that allows them to receive your love and you doing for them. So how do we bring this back to the man who's serious about you? He respects that you are a woman that can do for yourself. He respects and honors the fact that, you don't put all the burden on him and just, act like you have no competence to handle things. However, he still desires a balance where you allow him to do for you and provide for you, because that's part of him expressing love. And you don't want to restrict the flow of love going either way. So you want to be careful with that. And I would much rather you practice allowing a man to do for you, and those who show themselves to be using it as manipulation or to try to get something out of you in return, let them show themselves to be that man, because then you can cut them out and get rid of them. So to me, allowing it to flow in that way allows you to see what kind of man you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way, I have to mention this even though it's a completely different topic. It's the same way I tell men who are afraid about women opening up to women because they see women throw it back in their face. And I tell the men, listen, open up to her, because then you get to see if she's that kind of woman. You won't be able to see that part of her if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable in that way. So back to this, you don't get to see what kind of character this man has if you try to guard against it and you don't even know if that's the kind of dude he really is. So you want to be very mindful of that and learn how to become more comfortable in allowing him to do for you without projecting the fear of he's going to try to, use it against me in some kind of way. But then also learn how to let people do for you, because, being an independent woman, I always say I would love for y'all to not call yourselves independent woman, only because by calling yourself that name, you become very locked into that mindset, and you have to understand that healthy relationships require interdependence, not independence. We all have to learn how to lean on each other. And again, if you're fighting that, consider this, like when corporations have team building exercise, that exercise where they make people fall back into the arms of their co-workers or whatever because they have to trust them. They have to learn how to lean on their co-workers. They have to learn how to let go and trust in order for that team to grow and flourish. Same thing in relationships, or I'll give you one more, in sports. If you're not willing to pass your teammate the ball, if you're not willing to include them in the game, you're going to deteriorate the chemistry of the team and the ability for that team to thrive. So in relationships, when we don't learn how to be interdependent and rely on each other and trust each other and be able to lean on each other in different ways, whatever the defined roles are in our specific relationship, then we're going to deteriorate our ability to really come together, to thrive, to flourish, and to have harmony in the relationship. So it's important that you learn how to embrace more interdependence. And again, you don't have to wait till you meet a man to do that. Learn how to let people in general do for you, all right? I know some of you may not even have anyone trying to do a damn thing for you right now. And I pray that people will come into your life that will be willing to take some of the burden off your back or at least help you in some ways. But when you do have people offering, because some of you have had people try to help you and you're so quick to say, nah, I got this. Nah, I can handle this. Nah, I'm good. You're not good. You're not good. Let them help. Let them express their love in that way and allow yourself to learn how to be interdependent. So back to the question from the man who is serious about you, when he asks a question that pretty much is saying, I'm here to help and provide, that is a man who is serious. All right, so now let's get to number 5 on this list. But before we do, as always, get your copy of the book The Man God Has For You. Best-selling book, 7 Traits to Help You Determine Your Life Partner. Over 4,000 reviews, I think maybe 5,000 reviews now on Amazon. Either way, click the link below or in the description or go to www.themangodhasforyou.com. You are going to love the book. All right, so now, question number 5, all right? And there's a lot more questions, but I'm just going to give you guys these, I think it's like 7, whatever. Anyways, question number 5. Are you willing to wait till marriage? Now listen, hold on now, because I know some of y'all are like, wait a minute, what? So hear what I'm saying. I will acknowledge that you're typically not going to hear that question, okay? And that most men are not going to be asking you if you're willing to wait till marriage to have sex. And that's what I mean by waiting till marriage, okay? But I put this question in here because, one, these men do exist, all right? Though they may not be the majority, they do. And to simply make the point that if he asks that, he's serious. That, like, I don't know if there's any other way to put it. That man is trying to be extremely intentional with dating you. Now, it's not to say the man who does not ask that question is automatic dirtbag or just trying to use you or whatever. Because again, even men who are genuine and serious about you may not have overcome their desires for sex, okay, or have mastered their sexual desires in that way to want to or to even understand the benefit of waiting, all right? Though I would encourage them to explore that, a lot of men aren't there yet. But again, there are some men who exist like that. I've had men, I remember one time I was on tour and I talked about how there's abstinent men out there, but they don't feel comfortable announcing it because a lot of women either don't believe them or people start questioning their sexuality. Men are, believe it or not, a lot of men get a lot of shame from saying they're abstinent. It's not respected in the way that some of y'all may think it is, or you may even claim it is. It may be to you specifically, but to the world, they get a lot of pushback, all right? But so the interesting thing was I said this on stage on a tour stop. And then when I got off stage, one of the guys who was backstage, I didn't know, I met him for the first time there. He was like, man, I'm so happy you mentioned that. And he told me how he was abstinent with his girlfriend and waited till marriage, or maybe they didn't wait till marriage, but at least they waited for a long time. One or the other. But either way, he was absent for a long period of time, and that was the approach he took. And he was like co-signing what I said. And it was great to hear me talk about that and put that out there. So I say that to say you never know who's actually walking that walk, but a lot of men don't feel as comfortable talking about it, all right? But back to the point and the question at hand, if he does say that, one, please don't go to, is this man gay? Like, because some of y'all, whether you want to admit it or not, it might cross your mind. Like, wait a minute, because you never heard this before. This is weird to you. This is so foreign that you start trying to figure out what's really going on here. Is he playing games? Is this man trying to set me up? Like, nah, it exists. It happens. And I think for him to say, let's wait, for him to even say, are you willing to wait? Forget just waiting till marriage. Because again, some people aren't all the way there. But for him to even say, are you willing to wait for us to have sex? Does show a man who's serious, does show a man who's being intentional, and that is something that should be respected. Now, if that's not your cup of tea, because listen, just as abstinent men exist, there are men who ain't down with, women who ain't down with it that exists, all right? And if you are one of those women, that's your prerogative, that's your choice. And you have the right to express to him that, nah, bruh, I'm not waiting. That doesn't work for me. That's fine. Then maybe you guys just aren't on the same page or whatever the case may be. But again, it is something that can happen, should be respected, and is definitely a sign of a man who's serious. All right, so now we are on to the sixth question. And the sixth question is just questions about checking on family, your family and friends. All right. So essentially, showing interest in the people that are in your life. Again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, men who aren't trying to be serious, men who aren't trying to go down that path with you, they are not trying to dive deep into you, try deep into your life. And if anything, they do not want to, they don't want to merge your worlds together, all right? And so getting involved with your family members and friends is not the move typically. And I say typically because, yes, I know some of y'all are saying we've seen men get fully integrated into the family, check on the family, get friendly with your children, all this stuff, and still be a manipulating narcissist. Yes, it can happen. But typically, men who aren't serious aren't trying to do all that. And that's why also you don't want to just eliminate, you just don't want to say, oh, well, narcissistic men or manipulating men do this too. Yes, but will they be doing this and the other stuff? As you start to add more things to the list or start checking off more things, it's very hard for someone who's not serious about you to be doing all these things I'm mentioning, all right? Or the vast majority of these things that I'm mentioning. They're usually going to show themselves in some way, shape, or form. You just have to be willing to accept or address the red flag when you do see it rather than make excuses for it. But back to this point, yes, typically the asking of family, friends, whoever, other people that are in your life that might be important to you, he's, again, trying to show that he cares. He's trying to show that he's invested. He's trying to show that he's paying attention, okay? And naturally, when a man is serious about you and he cares about you, he wants to give a damn about who you give a damn about, all right? Now, it doesn't always work out that smoothly because, unfortunately, sometimes the people you give a damn about are toxic people. and it might be hard for him to have the same kind of love and compassion. At least at first it might be very difficult. But there's at least a desire to want to be able to embrace those who you've embraced in your life, who you hold dear to you. And so that question, just checking on them and things like that, that's a good sign of a serious interest. And now another question that a man will ask when he is truly serious about you is just anything that references a future together. All right. I think, again, when men are considering you for a serious relationship, when they have their eyes set on that, they're thinking ahead. All right. They're not just thinking in the now. Men who are just trying to have fun are thinking in the now. I don't want to worry about all this later. I ain't trying to worry about where we would live or, you know, where you want to be in 5 years. All that stuff. He don't care about all that. He just wants to get it in now, have fun, that's it. But the guy who's serious is, again, he's considering, especially let's say you guys aren't in the same city, all right? And there's gonna be more discussions about where would you want to live? Where would we go here? What kind of house do you want? You know what I'm saying? What kind of environment you try to, like, there's different things that are all future based and all about trying to see where you're at, or things that just flat out talk about you and him, that even make reference to, hey, you know, I know, like, let's say he's gonna graduate and graduation 6 months from now. And he talks about, like, yeah, you know, and you'll be at my graduation, you know, however he says it, he makes a reference to you being there. That means he's already considering that you will still be in his life 6 months from now. You see what I'm saying? So whether it's graduation or a birthday or anything that's a special moment, if he's already talking about you being there, that's a very good sign, all right? Because, again, he is already considering you being in his life, or he's showing a desire that he wants you to remain in his life. So, again, it's important that you look at all these different things I mentioned, but, again, you also dive deeper and talk about it. You know, you should not be afraid to ask a man, where are we going with this? Where do we stand? I always say the only men who are bothered by those questions are the men who aren't serious about you. The men who don't want to be held to a certain standard. They're going to dodge those discussions, all right? But the man who's serious about you, who's at least considering it, he's open to answering those things. Now, as I always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So you have to ask these questions in a calm, loving manner. It shouldn't be some interrogating, catching an attitude, being overbearing in the way that you talk to him, because that's going to make anyone defensive, right? But if you're just having loving, calm conversation about things like this, and you ask what's on your mind, and you express, if you have a concern, express that concern. If you are confused, like let's just say he's doing all these things, but for whatever reason, you are still confused. You are still not sure if this man is serious. And honestly, at the end of the day, here's not a question, but here's a statement. If he's serious about you and you ask him, he'll be willing to tell you. That's the statement. He'll be willing to say, I'm looking at you in that way. Yes, I'm considering us being in a relationship. He'll be willing to put that out there. He's not afraid to say it because he means it. All right? So just be willing to talk about it. Be willing to discuss all these things. But yes, these are definitely great signs when these questions are asked, and questions that a man who is considering you seriously will ask. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. I pray you receive the man who wants to love you, not just use you. And the reality is that there is a man out there for you. There is a man who wants to cherish you, honor you, and is going to fall